Hi, I'm Janelle Jumadinova, coming to you from Allegheny College. In this video, we will talk about two tools that we use to help us with the running and testing of our programs. In the Department of Computer Science, we use two tools specifically, Docker and GatorGrader, to help us with these important tasks. One software development platform that gained a lot of hype over the last few years is called Docker. Docker is a virtualization technology that allows for easy development and deployment of applications. It is supported on most modern machines and operating systems. This means that applications can run the same no matter which machine they are running on, allowing programmers like us to concentrate on our code instead of worrying about system specifications. So, instead of downloading a lot of software tools that are needed to build and execute your programs, Docker allows you to package all of these tools into a container, meaning you only need to run one file containing all of the tools necessary when you test your programs. In the computer science courses at Allegheny, students are invited to run their developed programs in a Docker container that is developed by faculty for a specific assignment or an activity. To start using Docker, you first will want to make sure that your machine supports it. Please navigate to the department's page shown behind me and run a program created by our awesome system administrator, David Wagner. You can click on the link in the top blue box to find out if your machine can run Docker. Once you do that, you will find one of three possible answers: yes, no, or maybe. If you get a maybe, please read information on this page and check your version of the Windows. Alright, after you have verified that your machine supports Docker, it's time to install Docker Desktop. Please navigate to the Docker's website shown behind me, click on Get Started, and select the version of Docker Desktop that's appropriate for your operating system. After the installation steps have completed, please go ahead and start up Docker Desktop. Now, if you have any issues during this step, it might mean that you need to enable virtualization. You may want to research on how to perform that task for your specific operating system and machine type. If you have any trouble, please contact your instructor and technical leaders for assistance. You can also use a terminal window to check the version of the Docker that you have installed. If you're not sure how to use terminal windows, please check out the video by Dr. Caphammer. In your terminal window, you type in the command called Docker version, and this command will display a line with the version of the Docker that's been installed. In addition to Docker, the department uses a tool developed in-house called GatorGrader. The purpose of this tool is to help with the development and assessment of your programs to ensure that they meet minimum qualifications set for an assignment or an activity before it is submitted. The development of this tool is led by our own Dr. Caphammer and is supported by many of our current students and alumni. Please like GatorGrader's repository by clicking on the star in the top right-hand corner of the repository and help us get to 100 stars this semester. GatorGrader's assessment capabilities can be run using GraderGrade command inside a Docker container. Let's see how this works. Please go ahead and open up the terminal window and navigate to the directory in which you want to work. I will be working from the Lab 1 starter directory of CS101. Now we need to set up a new cache directory called GatorGrader, which is required by GatorGrader. You only need to do this once as you start working with GatorGrader. You don't have to set it up for other assignments or labs. After this, we can run the Docker run command. I copied and pasted the command from the lab instruction sheet. This command will produce a lot of output, which you can ignore the output at the beginning of the command run and concentrate on the listed output, in which you will see either the green checks or red X's. If you see a green check shown in the GatorGrader's output, this means that your program satisfied the requirement displayed next to that check. So for example, in my case, the credit card.java program satisfied the check of having exactly 0 of the add your name here fragment. However, if you see a red X appearing, then you still have not correctly met this check, and you'll need to go back and fix it. So in my example, reflection document still has not met the check of having at least 700 words. You can also scroll down to the bottom of the output, and you will see a box, either a red one or a green one. In my case, I have not met all of the checks, so my box is appearing in red, and it will indicate how many of the checks you have passed. Now let's see what happens when all of the checks are met. I'm going to navigate to a different directory with the solution of lab 1 and run the same docker run command as before by using the up arrow to remember it. You'll see the same output initially, but a different list that appears. In fact, in this list, all of the items have a green check next to them. You will also see a box appearing in green now, indicating that we have passed all of the checks. This means that all of the minimum requirements set by the instructor have been satisfied, and that your source code and your writing are passing all of the automated minimum baselines. Now, the previous Docker run command uses a Docker image called GatorGrader that by default runs a Gradle grade and then exits the Docker container. Instead, you may want to run the command that will allow you to enter what's called an interactive terminal, where you can repeatedly run commands within the same Docker container. This might be especially useful when you need to continuously test your program as you're writing it. In the terminal window, we are going to run the Docker run command with an IT tag to enter the interactive terminal. The interactive terminal is indicated by the word bash in this instance. Now, within the same interactive terminal, we can run the Gradle grade command, which will run the GatorGrader's checks that we've seen in the previous example. So for example, you will see the same startup, which is sped up in this example, and you will see the same checks that are occurring. Gradle also has several useful commands, such as Gradle build, which will allow you to test your programs for correctness, and Gradle run, which will produce the output from your program. This will allow you to see whether your program compiles and runs without necessarily running the GatorGrader checks each time. To exit the interactive terminal, type in the word exit. So, we learned about Docker and GatorGrader and saw some specific commands on how you can run GatorGrader as a containerized application in Docker. Now I wish you happy GatorGradering. And yes, that's a word I just made up.